Hey guys, as far as I'm concerned, there is something incredible, absolutely incredible happening as we speak right before our eyes. And in order for you guys to kind of understand what I want to convey, I'm sure a lot of you will anyway, but I just want to give a small primer to folks. As you guys know, for the past 10 years, Rabbi Kessin has been talking about Trump being the good part of Eisav. Why did he originally call Trump the good part of Eisav? He called Trump the good part of Eisav because of just his connections to Jews, his connections to Israel, pretty much his entire life, receiving all kinds of accolades and all that kind of stuff for work that actually he's done, not for the sake of accolades, but work that he's done in giving money to Israel. If you're talking about like the people that were pulled out of a place called Yamit, out of Sinai, he funded the relocation, or the places where they were relocated to. That's just one example of many. His family built Talmud Torah, etc., etc. Right? His father. This was in Brooklyn. Right down to his daughter becoming basically an Orthodox Jew, converting to Judaism. Again, not that I'm a huge fan of Kushner or anything like that. I'm just trying to convey that this is a person who is connected to the Jewish people, connected to Israel, and we can understand it's entirely possible that's why the entire political establishment eventually went against him. The entirety of Hollywood went against him because we know who Hollywood is and we know who the political establishment is, especially since they were friends with him and they were on his, so to speak, he was their darling for many years, and all of a sudden he became their biggest enemy, right? So let's just operate under the premise that Trump is the good part of Eisav. But my friends, we should remember that at the end of the day, Eisav is still Eisav. And really what I think is happening here, everything that we're looking at with regards to Trump's maneuvers with Qatar and Saudi Arabia, this is recent, right? Because everything up until that point, Trump was basically giving Israel carte blanche to do whatever they want, being Israel's best friend. His first term, forget about it. I mean, he was just straight up Israel's best friend. So now we kind of have like this peculiar situation where he's trying to, I guess it's been explained that he's trying to get Qatar or pull Qatar away from Iran and kind of into his arms, so to speak, right? Let's operate under that premise, right? It still doesn't explain, I mean, it could explain why he would say openly, don't worry, the Jews are not gonna, Israel's not gonna annex Judea and Samaria, right? They're not gonna take Gaza, right? Gaza's gonna be this international force or whatever it is, right? All these kind of things, right? And the stuff with Qatar and stuff with Saudi. For me, guys, what I think we're looking at in front of our eyes is, I don't think it's treason. I think it's Eisav literally battling with himself internally. I think that also, again, I mentioned in another video that Eisav, his father-in-law was and is Ishmael, right? So Eisav is known for kivud abayim. Eisav has to give kavod, has to honor his mother and father, but also his father-in-law, right? I don't know if you guys know, I mentioned this in other videos, that Qatar is the only state actor in the entire world, in the entire Middle East, who claim descendancy from Ishmael himself. Not Muhammad, but from Ishmael himself. They have a like a lineage going back all the way to Ishmael. So basically, they're the state actor representative of Ishmael on earth, right? As much as they claim it. So It's interesting. So basically, Trump, Eisav, the good part of Eisav, is trying to give kavod to Ishmael. Not only is he trying to give kavod to Ishmael, he's trying to, in a way, pull Ishmael from the bad part of Ishmael, which is Iran, my friends. Because Ishmael really is Islam. The umbrella of Ishmael is Islam today. So interestingly enough, guys, you see how this plays out, right? Rabbi Kessen's opinion is that it's possible that Trump forgot why God saved him, in a public miracle, right? And now he's like saying all these things, and he's promising Ishmael that Yakov is not going to become Israel, basically, right? He's doing that. Whether it's genuine or not genuine, whatever it is. And Rabbi Kessen basically says that that's why, it's interesting. Trump said, well, we after the election of Mamdani, he said, we lost some sovereignty here, right? It's interesting, right? Israel was trying to apply sovereignty in Judea and Samaria, and Trump said, we lost some sovereignty. Why would he say we lost sovereignty? Fascinating, huh? So Rabbi Kessen explained that this was basically mida neged mida, measure for measure, and a chunk out of America, namely New York, had to be taken by the bad part of Ishmael. Okay? Folks, I don't know if it's as linear as that. I don't know if I necessarily fully agree with it. It's something to consider. I think it's something else. I think that ultimately, and I'll tell you guys why. Mamdani, and I just explained this to Rabbi Kessen today, but I don't know what he took out of it. I spoke to him on the phone. Mamdani is part of the caste, or his father is part of the caste called Koja. Koja, generally speaking, are Shiite Muslims. Mamdani's family, in particular, are 12er Shiite Muslims, which is the same caste as, the same, the same sect, the same faction as the Ayatollah of Iran. My friends, what I think is happening here, what I suspect could be happening here, is, it could be mida neged mida, but I think it's also that Trump is trying to pull away Qatar. The representatives of Ishmael, he's trying to pull them away from Iran. Iran essentially sent, I don't know if actively, but this guy who's going to become mayor of New York is their agent in America. He is literally their agent in America. Fascinatingly enough, guys, what did Trump do this week? I think he already sees that it's entirely possible that certain parts of the land of Eisav is on the decline. So what is he doing? Did he go and do? He put out a bat signal, right? A clarion call. He said, I would like to call on President Herzog to pardon Bibi Netanyahu. My friends, think about this. You have Mamdani, who says he wants to arrest Netanyahu if Netanyahu ever lands in New York, for, stuff in Gaza and on supposed genocide, war crimes, blah, 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 right? Not that he has authority to do it, but the point is he says he wants to do it, right? And here you have Trump basically saying to Herzog, please pardon Bibi for supposed, stuff with champagne and cigars and blah, blah, blah in Israel. As if it's, Eisav / Trump's job to do anything positive in Israel. But my friends, what's happening in Israel? What's happening in Israel is the deep state of Israel is dying. Anyone that's against Torah, against anything Jewish is going away, is like being phased out, right? Their whole house of cards is collapsing. The whole Tower of Babel is collapsing over there. I think Trump sees where this is all headed. He doesn't understand it maybe from a Torah perspective, but he sees where this is all headed. He sees that Israel is rising. And again, guys, not that I'm a big fan of Bibi, but he sees that part of the Israel rising, part of the deep state in Israel being eliminated, is, getting rid of Bibi's all kinds of his legal problems, right? Which are not really, it was politically motivated. My friends, I have a feeling that the fact that he did this, the fact that Trump did this, asked Herzog to do this, might just get him back, so to speak, in Hashem's good graces, but also, it's a sort of, I guess it's a strategy. He's pulling Qatar away, and he's doing little things here and there to show that, hey, he's still with Israel. Or rather, he's pulling Qatar away from Iran. He's pulling them close to him. Folks, either way, listen, and this is something a lot of friends have mentioned. Either way, Judea and Samaria is going to have to be annexed. It is not up to Trump, or anyone else for that matter, to give a haskama, to give the approval for Yakov to become Israel. Yeah, he wrestled with Eisav's angel, right? He wrestled essentially with Eisav's angel, and after that he became Israel. My friends, what you're witnessing now is that wrestling, so to speak. It's really Eisav wrestling with himself, and then Yakov kind of sort of wrestling with Eisav, but not really. If you guys remember, Yakov and Eisav were twins. They were twins, but it's funny. It almost seems like one of the twins is wrestling with himself. And that's essentially what we're witnessing, guys. That's essentially what we're witnessing. So honestly, I don't know fully if what we just saw was, Hashem punishing, like Rabbi Kazan says, punishing, New York and Trump for this and that, for saying the Jews want to annex Judea and Samaria. I think it's more, folks, that, at the end of the day, Eisav is still Eisav. He's going to do it the way he's going to do it. Yeah, he's going to seek kavod. He wants the Nobel Peace Prize. He wants this. He wants that. But I don't think he's against Israel. I don't even think he's against Israel annexing Judea and Samaria. But I think, my friends, that, it's interesting. If you look back at all the presidencies, since, 1967, there was two things presidents were saying, American presidents were saying with respect to Israel. Yes, I will move the embassy to Jerusalem. I don't know how many presidents said it. And none of them ever did it. And the second thing that was spoken about was, okay, the West, quote unquote, the West Bank, Judea and Samaria, was always up for something that was going to be part of what? A two-state solution, this two-state delusion. My friends, President Trump is the first president to understand, not only the first president to move the embassy to Jerusalem and recognize the Golan Heights, which, by the way, Ehud Barak wanted to give away as recently as 1999. Trump is the first president to basically stop talking about the two-state solution. Not even mention it. Especially after October 7th, he realizes that everybody realizes there's not going to be one, right? If anything, people realize that Hamas is ruling Judea and Samaria also, as dangerous there as they are in Gaza, right? If not more. When I say ruling, I mean stronger than the PA is there, right? As much as we like to think otherwise. So, where was I going with this? Yeah, so he didn't talk about, he's the only president that never spoke about Israel giving away its heartland. If anything, my friends, I think in his first term he gave a full, what's called haskama to it, via Pompeo. Not that I'm a fan of Pompeo, right? He gave a full haskama, a full, approval to it. My friends, at the end of the day, President Trump is going to do what he's going to do. with respect to Qatar, with respect to whatever he's going to do. And we kind of understand what's happening here in America. And we understand that the heat is on the Jews. And it only means one thing, guys. It means that very, very soon we're going to have to go home. And whoever's in the government in Israel, however it pans out, and there's going to be an election next year, maybe even sooner than that, this whole Judea and Samaria thing is going to have to be finalized. And Yakov is going to have to become Israel, and we are going to have to be in charge of our own, Mashiach process. As much as Rabbi Kessin likes to say, Trump has a role, Trump saved him, he made a miracle. My friends, it's true, he did make a miracle. Hashem did make an open miracle, but it looks like Trump, it's not that he forgot, it's that Trump has his way of doing things, and sometimes he says too many things. He doesn't, so to speak, close his mouth when he should. Sometimes he kind of butts into things when he shouldn't. But it doesn't mean that he has malicious intent. Unlike other presidents, unlike the guy before him, the guy who was there before his first term, right? That guy straight up had malicious intent. And the guy before that guy, who was kind of like pretending to like us, but, we understand now, no. And the guy before him, Clinton, who, folks, I'm going to post pictures later on my Instagram. Hillary Clinton with Suha Arafat kissing, Bill Clinton, Yasser Arafat, Ehud Barak. You've seen that video where they look like they're frolicking in the woods. My friends, it's people forget. People really forget. Everybody thinks America was this great friend to Israel. It wasn't like a friend, like an unconditional friend. It was a strategic acquaintance. My friends, you ever have those friends, quote unquote friends? They're friends with you because they need something from you. They're not an ally. They need what you have. Maybe they want to take what you have, but they definitely need to occasionally use what you have. And they say, hey, I'll give you something, and you, whatever, right? Let me, I don't know, hang around in your area. I got some work to do, in your neck of the woods, so to speak. My friends, that's what it's been. As Rabbi Kahana used to say, there's no allies, there's only interests. And America has an interest in this part of the world, in the Middle East. My friends, Trump also has interests, but in a different way. It's in a different way. All right, my friends. So what we're looking at here, we're looking at the process of Eisav wrestling with himself, really wrestling with himself. And no matter how you slice it, by hook or by crook, Yakov will be Israel very, very soon, guys. We're watching it in real time. God willing. All right, guys. Shabbat Shalom.